Hey Charlie, have you seen my new six album variant? It's like a collector's edition. There's a new one each week. I'm turning to Pokemon. Gotta catch 'em all.
Well, Taylor, I just released one album and it's already everywhere. I guess when your music's actually groundbreaking, you don't need six versions of an album to stay relevant.
It's all about giving the fans what they want. Plus, all these variants help me stay on top of you.
That's funny. I thought it was the music that should stay on top, but hey, whatever keeps you in your momentum.
Guess we got different strategies. Mine just comes with a bit more glitter and less subtlety.
Oh, also, my album comes with actual new music. Maybe I should send you a copy. It could help you inspire your next dozen re releases.
Today, I'm breaking down a major business strategy in the music industry, and Taylor Swift, she's going to be the case study for this video. This video is going to help you understand how strategic decisions can shape market outcomes and influence consumer behavior. And if you think this doesn't apply to you, let me ask you a question and go ahead and drop it in the comments below. Do you like Taylor Swift or Charlie XCX more? And if you find that you like Taylor Swift more, go a little bit deeper and tell me why you actually think that is. Is it because you think her music is better? Or is it because you hear her a lot more often? And keep that in your mind until the end of the video, because I'm going to be going over how her business strategy is harming the music industry and potentially harming your ability to choose what you want. But first, let's stop and consider the timing for Taylor Swift's release for her album variants, or editions. I think that's what she's calling them. By launching multiple editions of the same album and essentially not adding any more value, for instance, changing one track that has music to an acoustic album, she's hurting the industry. She released these album variants only because she saw that Charlie XCX's new album Brat was on the verge of taking the #1 position in the UK. So very quickly, Taylor Swift jumps in and says,
Oh no, not gonna happen. I need to get my Swifties riled up.
and she releases 6 new albums, and it kind of looks something like this. Now, before you make your decision, let's just consider this. In the UK, Taylor Swift has had 12 #1 singles, and essentially here's how a Billboard charts works. So when an album is released, people listen to it, the more they buy it, the more they stream it, the more we start to see that each one of these can move up. Taylor Swift, in this instance, is being a little bit aggressive in her approach towards this, because what we saw in the United States is that Hit Me Hard and Soft by Billie Eilish started to rise in the charts. It started to move closer to that #1. So what did Taylor Swift do? She employed a similar strategy to what she did with Charlie XCX, which we're going to see in a moment. And what she did was essentially drop more versions of her album. And when she did this, they started to overtake the Billie Eilish album. So it didn't even really give her a chance to become a #1, because Taylor Swift, with all of these new releases, they slowly moved up the charts and took that #1 place. Now let's look at this again, but we're going to do it without Billie Eilish's album being here. So as you can see, we have Brat. Brat started to move up to the charts. And what did Taylor Swift do? The very weekend that this was set to become a #1 album in the UK, Taylor Swift said, no, hold my beer. I'm going to go through and release 6 different variants. And what she did was pushed everybody out of the running. She did it with Billie Eilish, and she's doing it again with Charlie XCX. So as you're considering whether or not you actually like Taylor Swift more, or if you are just more used to hearing her music, keep this in mind. This is not something that she did on a whim. This was strategic after looking at some numbers. And it really starts to create an issue in the world that we live in, because Taylor Swift is essentially saying, I want all the money. I don't want anybody else to have the money. If I can't have it, nobody else can. It really creates this system of unfairness. And you might be thinking the entire world is competition, and that's true. However, it creates this feeling of, why should I even try, for most other artists who want to have a chance to win the limelight. This move is understandably controversial, but it's also a calculated effort to maximize her sales and push Charlie X out of the running for that #1 that she's been working for the past 10 years. By introducing different versions of the albums directly at this specific time and creating a sense of urgency among her fans by saying deluxe or limited edition, something like this, she induces a fear of FOMO. And this is a tactic that is commonly used in business to boost sales. If you purchased anything online, you've probably seen something like this. Get it now before it's gone. Otherwise, you're going to have to pay double the price later. In this instance, Taylor Swift is leveraging her power over her fans to say, if you don't buy this now, you're not going to be able to get it later. And obviously, if you are a mega fan of a singer, you're going to want most pieces of memorabilia that you can get from them. The goal here is for her to make these deluxe albums feel exclusive, pushing her fans to act now and quickly before that opportunity expires. The strategy directly feeds into consumer psychology, the fear of missing out. From a business perspective, this is understanding your audience and influencing them in a way that I would say is quite negative, even if it is very positive for her marketing campaign. We never want to use our power with our audience to take control of them and get them to act like a zombie or like a sheep. Instead, we always want to use our marketing, our empathy to help people think for themselves and make the best decision for them. If we consider the broader impact of Taylor Swift's strategy with this release, it is effective, but it really kind of pushes us towards a monopolistic environment. When this happens, one or few people dominate the mainstream radio. We see this a lot because one of my favorite artists who I listen to almost every single day is Arca. She's a Spanish artist and she makes excellent music, but she never really gets played on the radio because she's pushed out by other people who are more critically, I guess you could say, critically acclaimed, but not even, because all of her albums are critically acclaimed and they actually received awards, Kick 1, Kick 2, Kick 3, every single one of these. I would argue that what Taylor Swift is doing here is pushing everybody out so she can dominate the radio waves, and it's very bad, not only for the music industry, but also for us as the consumers of this music. Why is it so bad for the music industry? When one person dominates everything, it's going to stifle innovation. It's going to make people scared to take risks, take chances, because if they're doing this in order to create a life for themselves and they know that they don't have a chance of rising up, that's massively going to crush your self-esteem and it's going to make you not want to pursue your goals or your dreams. By the way, to all my brats out there, if you're enjoying the video, why not like and subscribe to my channel? In the long term, this is going to have horrible effects on the music industry. So I've got another question for you. Do you think this is something that we should maybe try to stop while we can? Or do you think it is all fair game? If you're one of the fair game people, I have to say, I definitely agree with you from a business perspective. Everything in life is a competition, but I would venture to say that for Taylor Swift, this is not really a competition. This is a strategy to remain at the top and push everybody else out. And when you do this, it makes people dislike you. It makes fans start to turn against you. And we can see in the United States that fans or people that hear Taylor Swift consistently are starting to not like her. Just look at this message here. This is from one of my friends in the United States. He is absolutely fed up with hearing Taylor Swift. And here's another one as well. Different person, same story. She's oversaturating the market and creating a monopoly for herself where no other woman can rise to get a #1 in the United States, and now she's extending it here in the UK. Her approach is a clear example of strategic business planning, and from a business standpoint, it's absolutely genius. But if we take a step back and we think about the broader implications that business strategy can have on the world, does it always lead to something positive or does it sometimes lead to something negative? If we think about, for example, fuel companies like BP, who are making massive, massive gains. Meanwhile, most of the UK is really struggling to try to put food on the table or even support themselves. Yes, this is a strategy they have, but is it actually a good strategy in the long run? No. It's going to affect us negatively, and it's going to affect ultimately the consumer, me and you who are listening to this different kinds of music. And it's also going to put a hamper. It's going to limit the different kinds of music we can hear from different people, from different cultural backgrounds. All of this combined is going to make a more thriving music industry. So what is the entire point of this video today? It's really just to analyze these tactics so we can start to recognize and gain insight into what some of the largest players in any industry do. And we need to start to have these bigger players in the industry think, is this an ethical move or is it unethical? 9 out of 10 times from a business standpoint, it might be considered ethical. But if we take a step back and look at how it's going to affect everybody in the long run, this is actually a very unethical move on Taylor Swift's behalf. So go ahead and tell me in the comments below, what are your thoughts on the balance between ethical and unethical businesses when it starts to become a monopoly, as we're seeing with Taylor Swift? Do you think she's in the right? Do you think she's in the wrong? Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. And if you are very interested in learning more about business strategy, how you can grow your business to become a prominent player in your industry, go ahead and click the link below and join my hive. Each week I send out a newsletter. You'll be hearing from me about something that's interesting in the business world. Sometimes I connect it to music. Sometimes I connect it to something that I'm learning. But anyway, if it is something you're interested in, go ahead and sign up below. I would love to have you on my list so we can learn about this and move forward together. My ultimate goal here is to show you how business is better when there are people from different cultures, people from different backgrounds, all working together towards a common goal to achieve something. Taylor Swift is doing the exact opposite of that. She's not letting anybody who is not like her rise to the top. And yes, it is a competition to the top, but when the top is dominated by one very rich woman who is a white woman with a very specific cultural background, we start to see an issue. We need to have different perspectives, different experiences, and different flavors of everything that we do in this world. Otherwise, the world that we live in is going to continue to become more mundane and more boring. Anyway, let me know your comments below. That's all for this week, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.